Good evening, sorry, what am I saying? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Hairy Muppet. Welcome to another Daily Masters cast where apparently I get the time of the day completely confused because I'm spending so much time thinking about casting games. So there we go. Another Daily Masters cast up the top left side of the map. It is going to be none other than Minigun, who we haven't really cast any of, I feel like, in the in the past games that we've cast. We've never had a game with Minigun in it, or maybe just one or two, so it's going to be very exciting to be casting him because he's a name, that I've been hearing quite a bit over the past couple of years. So let's check him out for a sec. He is a United States player from the good old US of A. He plays for the Root Gaming team, and he's currently number 61 in the WCS. With 800 points, so that's pretty sweet. And yeah, this is Minigun. All right, I'm not showing the wrong player. So yes, and his opponent going to be a red Terran player with the awesome whip animation thing, and it is going to, it looks like he whipped his own arm off. Looks like it's going to be DeMusliM, and I hope I'm saying that right, but I think I am. So DeMusliM is currently a player from the United Kingdom. And he plays for the Evil Geniuses team, is currently number 84 on the WCS with 525 points. And I was actually reading his biography a little bit because my internet's so slow and Minigun's page has taken so long to load up that he is actually, according to this, he was one of the best, if not the best, Warcraft 3 players. In the entire Europe, definitely in the UK, which is where he played from, but overall in Europe, he was one of the best Warcraft 3 players back when he was playing Warcraft 3, and then like 2010, I think he moved over to Starcraft 2. I think that's it. Where is it? I don't know. I can't remember exactly, but let's say 2010 because I don't think the game was out before then. Wait, did it come out 2009? Did Starcraft 2 come out 2009? I feel like it was 2010. I feel like that's what I feel like. So yeah, we'll be saying 2010. So yeah, really nice job there. And so far, we've got some fun stuff happening. We've got a double barracks coming out for DeMusliM, so it's going to give him a lot of early pressure or just early defensive capabilities. All he needs is a bunker to get up there, and he can just shovel it full of Marines. And it looks like Minigun is going to be making sure he gets his Nexus up as well. So he sees the expansion that DeMusliM has got, and he is going to be keeping all over it. So that is going to be fantastic. He's going to be a little bit behind DeMuslim's command center, but DeMusliM still has to morph this into well, not morph it in, but upgrade it to a orbital command, which somehow gets done in about 30 seconds, whereas it would take a proper team probably about 2 or 3 weeks to get a bloody satellite dish installed on top of that thing. I mean, it really depends because so some places you can probably get it done in a day, but if you're in one of those dodgy sort of neighborhoods that your local council really doesn't care about and they don't get that much funding from the government, then it can take significantly more time than just 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah. Oh man, I love my local council, I really do, but I wish they'd improve my internet. And yeah, all right, I'm not gonna talk about how bad the internet is in Australia, because if you're not in Australia, you don't care, and if you are in Australia, then it's probably just more pain. I mean, you probably don't want to be reminded of how bad the internet is in this country, so I'm not going to talk about it any more than I just have in the last minute. So anyway, moving forward, DeMusliM getting a tech lab and a reactor. The tech lab, does that actually get up there a lot faster? I don't know, maybe he just started this earlier, but anyway, that's really interesting. So that thing takes 50. How long does this thing take? I don't know. We'll have to wait till we get another barracks. Can we see it on the factory? Let's see if we can see it on the factory. No, we can't. It hasn't been built yet. We will see, because tech lab takes 50, so the reactor, if the reactor takes longer than 50, that is going to be interesting. Oh, so sleepy. Such a sleepy head today, which is crazy because I got like 10.5 hours sleep last night, but man, I'm all over the place. I'm probably like, I think there's like 10 or 12 essential vitamins that I'm probably low on because let's face it, I don't see much sunlight, and yeah, so let's just say that as long as we still get to cast Starcraft, that is the one absolutely essential vitamin which I am getting every single day. So that's something we don't have to worry about too much. All right, follow mode for the win. Little Mr. Oracle scooting around. What is he going to see? He's going to see a bunch of SCVs. That's 1, 2, 3, 3.5. I don't know how much more he's going to get. No more. But that's three kills. No actual life damage, just shield damage. So he's got to be pretty happy about that. And yeah, really, really nuts, man. I would love to see 3 or 4 Oracles sort of pushed into a main Protoss army. Like if you've got a massive amount of range, you get a few Colossus, and you mix in 3 or 4 Oracles, you spin off their attack at the right time. I would love to see how fast the Marines go down. I think that Marine army would just get absolutely obliterated, because Colossus and Oracles, I know they're different tech routes, but I mean, Minigun's got the Oracle, and he's getting Colossus as well, so I think the Oracles would shred all of the Marines all over the place. Of course, their range isn't that big. That's the only problem. Their range is pretty crappy, so they'd probably get wiped out by the Marines fairly fast. So maybe that's why they're not used in major armies, because their range is so short. They would just be right out the front of the lines. I don't know, if you had Zealots occupying the Marines... Oh, did not quite get a guy down there. The Marines, man, they're doing marathon sprints to try and chase down that Oracle. It just does not quite work. But regardless, it looks like DeMusliM's getting out a nice, decent-sized force. Their upgrades there, you should get 1 weapons fairly soon. He hasn't started on 1 armor yet. And meanwhile, Minigun has his first Colossus. Second Colossus will be out by the time this army gets here. And he's currently got no upgrades either. He hasn't started on any of his upgrades, so he's got a Stalker out to watch, and the Stalker sees that army. So the next Colossus nearly out. Come on, come on, come on, come on. You might have enough just to hold it up there, but I do not know. To be honest, I really don't know. And these guys got to come in, but there's no base there. I mean, you'd be insane to build a base there without knocking these rocks down first. So second Colossus, and now Minigun is feeling a bit better about hitting these forces. But he still doesn't have that much ground army to sort of deal with him, and they're actually stimming in. A nice force field prevents this Colossus from getting taken out to some nice stim micro from DeMusliM, and so far this is shaping up to be an extraordinary game, I feel like. Just both players, they definitely know what they're doing. They're definitely pushing out there, making things happen, getting a good amount of units, and look at this, man. This is the production tab. He is building that much stuff at once. That is completely crazy. Choosing to land his factory down there, so that tells Minigun 2 things. 1, that DeMusliM is going for triple M, he's not going for mech, and 2, that DeMusliM is kind of a jerk, because only a jerk would put their factory down on this location, man, and just totally blocking that Nexus. He's not going to need a Nexus for a while, but man, I mean, it's okay. It's okay to be a little bit of a jerk, but yeah, I mean, it's okay to point it out as well when you're commentating a game where someone's a little bit of a jerk. So yeah, just a little bit, but it's all good, man. It's all good. Yeah, man, it's not necessarily a bad thing to be a jerk in StarCraft 2, as long as you're not like a huge jerk, like a really huge jerk. As long as you're not doing anything really, really, really nasty. I'm not sure what really nasty is. I suppose lifting up all your buildings and flying them to all 4 corners of the map, that's a real jerk move, man. That's a really jerky move. There's no honor in that whatsoever. So there, 4 kills, but the Viking does take him out at the last seconds. Unfortunate. This guy's going in. The rocks are still up. Minigun, why have you not taken these rocks out? Well, I suppose it would be... There we go. Colossus going to be having a go. I suppose once he takes the rocks down, then DeMusliM takes them out. There's no resetting those rocks again, so he's probably saving them, and then when things go really, really crazy, then he can start actually knocking them down. When he starts to be, when it starts to be really, really serious, where the army's looking like he's going to move in, 500 damage, just boom, just wipe it out, collapse it on top of the Terran army, is the biggest force field you can possibly get, man. Just force fielding the army like nobody's business, and if only he could get a bunch of rocks to fall on top of this factory, man, because that factory totally needs to die. And I've actually been seeing a lot of Protoss players do this. Like, when I play, I like to get about 4 or 5 Colossus and a million Zealots. So my Zealots are nice and protected. But I've seen a lot of this play where they got a lot of Colossus, but not that many ground units. So they just try and max out more on the Colossus and not so much on the ground units. So usually you'd expect like 4 or 5 ground units for each Colossus. In this case, we're thinking like 1 or 2 ground units for each Colossus. And when I say ground units, I mean not Colossus, obviously. So yeah, they're not as well defended, but the DPS is so much higher with this many Colossus. The Phoenix are like, yeah, we can't lift that up, man. That factory is a bit too fat. And look at the army, man. So many Vikings. DeMusliM knows what he is doing. He knows how to counter the Colossus. And these guys are just going to be boom, 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 booming all over the place. And Minigun's got a ton of Phoenix, but Phoenix not the best unit to deal with Vikings. And at least DeMusliM doesn't have a ton of Marines, so the Marines can't really deal with the Phoenix too much, but I don't think they really need to. I think the Vikings can deal with the Phoenix all by themselves. But the fact is, if the Vikings are dealing with the Phoenix, then the Colossus are getting free kills, and all of these units are going to die. Marauders or not, they will die to the Colossus, because there's just so many Colossus on the map. But Minigun may just be thinking about protecting his potential 4th base, and DeMusliM thinking about going in. A bunch more Stalkers coming out, the Phoenix going in. Hitting the Vikings not taking nearly as much damage as the Phoenix. The Phoenix had taken so much damage, and Minigun forced to warp in a bunch of Stalkers to deal with this Viking threat. But more Vikings coming out on the map. These guys have got 1-0, so that's pretty good. These guys have got 1-1. I don't know what upgrades the Phoenix have. They got 1-0. And the ground forces, they're going to have a pretty decent amount of 2-2. So DeMusliM right now, the total badass when it comes to getting the upgrades out. And Minigun, he's got 2-2 on the way, but it's about 2/3 of the way done, so it's going to be a little while. And DeMusliM is not feeling good about moving through this little gap, because he knows the Colossus will just own his pants all over the place if he moves through that little gap. Unfortunately, the rocks are still there, and if he hits them, then they're going to just fall down. So, man, I've been talking so much, man. This is like the 5th game I've cast in like 3 hours, and my voice is definitely starting to go. And so are the Colossus, man. He does not have the DPS to take out the Vikings, although the Stalkers starting to do a really good job. He's taken out 2, so let's make that 3 Colossus so far. Do we have that? Yeah, that's 3 Colossus lost. Trying to get the 4th one down, not quite able to. And look at all these medevacs though, man. That's a crazy drop that he's putting in there. And he just lost most of his army, but I think actually this was the rest of his army going in there. But this one Zealot, man, he's like, ha ha, I take you all you guys on. And he sort of did. He sort of did. But the rest of the main army going down here, knocking out the starport, managed to get the unit out before the starport went down. The Phoenix going in there. Will they be able to take out many of the medevacs? I don't feel like they probably will. I feel like all these guys are all going to get away. Although the Phoenix can chase them, they don't have any more speed. They're going to be dropping down. They realize they cannot get away, so they're just going to be dropping everything. And seeing how much damage they can do, not a lot is going to be the way it's going. And the Phoenix is going to be chasing them. They're a little bit faster than the Phoenix, but only a little bit. And as soon as the speed runs out, all these guys going down. There's only 1 Marine though, and the Marine gets taken out by the ground forces. These forces are all going to die unless you get some reinforcements. Here's the reinforcement force, but there's no anti-air. Here comes the Vikings. Here comes the Vikings. And look at this beautiful position, although there were Stalkers on the low ground, so not going to work. I thought the Vikings could hit them from the south, but there were Stalkers coming along that south passage, and Minigun almost pushing it in, but the Viking numbers are starting to look very, very scary. And the Stalkers are going to get hit by a couple of Marauders as they stay back to try and hit the Vikings. So, very, very insane. Looks like DeMusliM has got 3-3 by now. He's got his 4th base out. His income is looking very sweet, but Minigun has actually pushed out ahead. He's got 82 harvesters, which is a completely stupid number of harvesters to have. Is actually starting to push down on the amount of ground forces he's able to get, because DeMuslim's looking like he's got a very, very nice army. And do these guys just lose 30 units in like 10 seconds? That's crazy, man. That's absolutely crazy. They've just lost so many units so quickly. Oh, that's crazy. But it looks like Minigun has won the ground battle, but all of his Colossus going down. Some reinforcements from DeMusliM should be able to stim kite their way out of this battle. The Zealots, man, they got 1 speed burst, but after that they are as docile as kittens, and you can stim chase them all the way around the bloody map. Stim kite, I should say. And with so many Marauders coming out, I feel like he's definitely going to be able to do that. Now, Minigun, the economy is pretty much the same because DeMusliM has less harvesters, but he's got more mules. So, how many mules does he have? 3. That's a very decent amount. So, yeah, he's doing pretty good. And it looks like Minigun, is he still getting Colossus? I do not know. I really don't. I mean, he's almost killed all of the Vikings. And the Vikings are sort of letting themselves be killed right there. Maybe DeMusliM needed the space. It doesn't look like it because he's actually building more Vikings. So that was obviously just a mistake. And Minigun, having got out some storms here with the High Templar, this is really going to start to put the hurt on DeMusliM. And he's got a decent amount of forces. And the fact he's got so many Marauders is going to help deal with that stim. But still, I do not know if he can deal with all of this stuff. The Vikings coming in all get wiped out. This small core of Marauders and over there is going to be quite good. Taking out a High Templar. And so far, we are extremely, extremely close. Getting a ton more Archons. And Archons are going to be very, very good at doing all sorts of good stuff in here. Pushing in again, but DeMusliM is starting to get a core of defensive units here. And Minigun can no longer just push up the ramp and just sort of do damage. He's going to be knocked back a little bit here. And he really needs to build a lot more stuff. He's only building 1 Colossus at the moment. He needs to be building a lot more. Although he's obviously, when you warp in stuff, you don't see them constantly there. So that's probably why. But he's morphing in a bunch more stuff here. I still feel like DeMusliM has a bit of an edge here. He definitely has a bit of an edge. He's 15 workers behind, 14 workers behind. But that's not a bad thing because that means there's 14 more army units that he can get that Minigun can't because he's just got so many workers. And when you're trying to get out big, massive units like Colossus, that really starts to hurt the amount of Zealots and Stalkers that you can get. So that's why he's getting the Archons, because they're big, beefy units that really, you know, I think they're a better match for the unit cost because they cost 4 and they're definitely worth more than 2 Stalkers, I feel like. So some nice storms coming down, but you can see DeMusliM starting to get an overwhelming number of guys out here. Storms going down, definitely going to be turning the tide, but look at this beautiful concave that DeMusliM has. And the Vikings, he's managed to get out a ton of Vikings. And the forces are all going down, although on the ground, Minigun's still managing to make things happen. He's actually turned this around a little bit. I'm not sure how he won that battle. I thought he was losing, but I guess the impressive amount of ground units he has is just doing such a great job. And the Archon's so beefy. Look at these guys. No shields left whatsoever, but they're still making it happen. And it's just so big and beefy. And there we go. Ghost coming down the field doing a ton of EMPs, but it's just not enough. And DeMusliM finally having to call the GG. And that was just high octane pressure for like 5-10 minutes in a row, man. Just these guys going at each other, constantly hitting each other, constantly attacking, constantly defending. And in the end, Minigun won it by what I feel like is the smallest margin ever. But is still a very, very decent margin, and congratulations to him because he just did an awesome job. And there we go. That is going to be him. Was he actually building 2 command centers at some point? Where's the second one? There's 2 on the bloody production tab. Maybe that's a bug. Maybe, yeah, I feel like that's a bug. Whatever. Alright, so anyway, that is it. Minigun winning that battle beautifully. I feel like it could have gone either way so much of the time, but is just awesome. Really, really awesome. So thank you very much for watching this game. This has been Hairy Muppet. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will catch you guys tomorrow for another Daily Masters. So stay tuned for that, and I hope you have a good day, everybody.